Good evening, everyone. We're here for a public hearing. I'll read the notice. The Board of Commissioners of the City of Mount Juliet will conduct a public hearing considering the following on June 22nd, 2026 at 6:15 at the City Hall located at 2425 North Mount Juliet Road. There are two items here for the public hearing. One is an ordinance of the City of Mount Juliet, Tennessee to adopt an annual budget, property tax rate, sewer rate, and a fiscal year beginning on July 1, 2026 and ending on June 30th, 2027. The second is an ordinance to amend the land use plan for the property known as Lockbox Self-Storage located at 12337 Lebanon Road, map 53, parcel 46, from thoroughfare commercial to light industrial. The public is invited to attend and comment. So if you would like to comment on either of these two items, I'd invite you to come forward to give your name and address for the record, and you will be recognized for 3 minutes. Yes, sir.
Good evening. Stephen Heggendorf, 393 Page Drive. So the increase does come as a shock. Mount Juliet is now asking residents and businesses to pay 3.5 times what they paid in fiscal year 2025 for city property tax. Sitting in this room for most all the meetings, and the first time I hear the Board of Commission wants to increase taxes another 60%, it was when Commissioner Mullally made the motion. It did not get a second. And then, Mayor, you made the motion for 28 cents. I know the news has picked it up thinking it's a decrease. So far, the record has not been corrected for that news article. So the state adjusted rate was going to be 0.176, and that is going to be raised to 0.28 cents per $100 assessed. At this time, there was no real discussion at that meeting last week. There was no real discussion about the thoughts and the reason why. It had, obviously, I attended the work session, so I have heard some of it. But I guess my issue is the first time I heard about the AAA bond rating being an issue was last meeting. The first time I heard about the costly communication system that we need for the first responders was the budget work session. And my question is, why are the citizens not being told or clearly ahead of time that this is going to happen and that we are on a financial cliff? Because if we're going to lose our AAA bond rating, that's a cliff that should be communicated previously. After last meeting, I discussed with Commissioner Bill and Deputy City Manager. For the public, we only have the documents made available to us publicly for work sessions and the meetings. On last meeting's documents, this property tax was not forewarned or suggested by the city manager. It wasn't even requested publicly, as it listed the adjusted rate of 0.1776. The work session had 0.2 from the city manager, but that was adjusted even today's meeting. The public record shows the city manager isn't requesting an increase. If the city manager is not requesting the increase, shouldn't the Board of Commissioners be explained to the public why they believe there should be an increase? Because that wasn't discussed last meeting. The citizens of Mount Juliet put everyone in the seats, and you in turn work with the city manager to run the city. And the citizens who directly or indirectly hired you deserve that complete transparency and ahead of time. There shouldn't be no surprises. We should know that we're going to have to increase 60%. At minimum, like most businesses, quarterly 1 to 2 page executive summaries should be sent quarterly and given publicly. So it's clear and precise. Someone doesn't have to drive through 50 pages of a document to really understand what's going on. I would like those
Sir,
notes.
your time has expired.
Yep, and the citizens deserve that the city is on track throughout the year, and that I believe those quarterly reports would suffice. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. Is there anyone else who would like to address the Board of Commissioners? Okay, seeing none, we will close the public hearing, and we will reconvene at 6:30 for our regular meeting. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Mount Juliet Board of Commissioners. Having a quorum present, I will call this meeting to order. Today is June 22nd, and we're meeting here to conduct the business of the city of Mount Juliet. All of you in attendance, I thank you for taking time out of your schedules to attend. We have some agendas in the wire baskets if you would like to follow along. The actual setting of the agenda is our next order of business. And I'm going to propose some changes. 9A, which is the budget, I propose moving to the heel of the agenda right before the appointments. So that would be read last. And the reason I'm proposing that is I believe we need to read 10A because we do not have the budget amount allocated to fulfill 10A. I'd like to read it first to see if we're going to pass that before we consider the agenda. The other change I would propose is moving 10B, C, and D to consent. If there's no objections to those changes. Okay. Any objections? All right. Hearing none, we'll set the agenda with the changes. 10B, C, and D will be read on consent, and the budget will be considered at the heel of the agenda before the appointments. And we do have a considerably long packet to get through tonight. I think it's like 661 pages was the agenda packet to go through tonight, but I think we'll go as quickly as possible while being as thorough as possible at the same time. Next, I would like to ask our city manager, Mr. Martin, if you would lead us in the invocation and pledge of allegiance, please.
Yes, sir. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, everybody bow your heads with me, please. Dear Lord, we come before you today with grateful hearts. We ask for your guidance upon our leaders. Please grant them the wisdom to navigate the complexities of our time, the integrity to act fairly, and the courage to make decisions that best serve the needs of our community. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, sir. Next item is the approval of the minutes. We had a work session on 6/8, and we had a regular meeting also on June 8th. A motion? Any questions, comments, changes? All right. Hearing none, all in favor of the minutes, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The minutes are adopted. Next item on the agenda is citizen comments. This is your opportunity to address the Board of Commissioners. If you would, I'd ask you to come forward to the podium, give your name and address for the record, and you will be recognized for 3 minutes. Name and address, please.
Yes. Hello again. Stephen Heckendorf, 393 Page Drive.
Thank you.
On January 12th, I came to this podium as a citizen who attends essentially all the Board of Commissioner meetings. My reason for speaking was asking for your thoughts on 3 things: growth, taxes, and cutting waste. I appreciated the range of responses at the time, but they offered no true preview of what we were to expect this year. I specifically called out the idea that you do not want to raise taxes, but how do you follow through on that? I believe that was the opportunity for everyone to share their concerns and preview what is happening today. Citizens should not be surprised by an increase like this. Combined increases for fiscal year 26 and 27 will amount to a 3.5-time increase what Mount Juliet residents were paying in fiscal year 25. Personally, I'll be paying $240 more this fiscal year than in 2025. To put that in perspective, for a family who loves baseball, Mount Juliet Christian Academy camp was $85 for 4 days. Strike Zone Academy baseball camp was $100. It may not seem like a big dollar difference for some, but for families who are forced to live within their means and unable to raise their own income at their own choosing, this is a big deal for them. The city is voting to raise the city's income by levying higher taxes on folks simply for owning property. Do you truly own your property if government can tax and take such land? It may not. Property tax revenue is $7.8 million more per year than fiscal year 2025. $4 million increase this year proposed. By the end of fiscal year 27, Mount Juliet will have taken directly out of the pockets of citizens and businesses $11.5 million more versus fiscal year 2025. Correct me if I'm wrong, but even with this vast increase in revenue, the general fund balance at the end of this fiscal year is projected to stay about the same. Fiscal property, for example, our fine police department. It is a fact that when excluding new hires, the budget personnel costs are increasing $1.1 million this year, about 13%. While that number will likely be larger next year, let's use this year's proposed numbers and tax rate. $1.1 million would amount to another 10.8% property tax increase next year. And that's just one budget line item. How will next year's increase be paid? It's just a question. Or will property taxes have to be increased, double digits again? The more I review the budget, the more I'm skeptical that the last 2 years were outliers, and I'm very concerned that it's becoming the rule. If residents are being asked to fork up millions and millions of dollars, which they cannot use to shop local, then I believe at minimum we deserve to hear everyone's explanation as to what happened this year and what will happen in the future years. I believe I can speak for many concerned citizens that we love our city, police, fire, and other departments, but we must be made aware publicly on a regular cadence where the city is financially and how that impacts the property taxes we will be paying. I'm aware my comments today are not going to change how you're going to move forward tonight, but I do hope that the city of Mount Juliet will commit to the executive quarterly
Thank you,
memo
sir.
summary for the citizens on the basis of full transparency and awareness. Thank you for the few extra seconds. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else to address the Board of Commissioners? All right, seeing none, we will close citizen comments and we will start with commissioner reports. Commissioner Giles, you are recognized, sir, for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, for those that, even though it's belated, happy Father's Day to those out there. Thank y'all for coming in to our meeting tonight. You probably know that Starbucks has opened on the corner of Mount Juliet Road and Division, and many of you, like me, are very excited that like Starbucks coffee. So I invite you to go there. Their actual ribbon cutting, unless it's changed, is in the morning at 10, if I'm not mistaken. Today was the full day of business. They had friends and family yesterday. And so anyway, I encourage you to go out there and see the new business that has opened, as well as, yeah, shop locally, obviously, when you can. And again, thank y'all for coming out. And Mayor, that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Trevette.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks for the folks that are coming out here tonight, each and every week, and as well as the folks that are online. Yes, happy Father's Day to all the folks that are out there. I got an opportunity to actually have all my kids in the car this year. It was kind of nice because my oldest daughter's grown up and moved on and started her own family, so it was kind of nice to be able to go out and celebrate Father's Day with all the kids back in the car, so that was a blessing there. Obviously, we got 4th of July right around the corner, and happy Independence Day for all the folks that are going to be out there celebrating. Just think about the safety. It comes down to our kids and even our neighbors that may be letting off the fireworks. But for the folks that may be looking to celebrate Independence Day with a group, as well as our local businesses are sponsoring, the Circle P Ranch, 4th of July, starting at 5:30 until 9 p.m. Looking forward to seeing everyone out there for the folks that do want to make it. Our parks team, as well as our city staff, has all worked together with local businesses to pull together another great year of celebrating our independence. Also, for the folks that have reached out to me over the last couple of weeks, thank you. There's been a lot of communication for the folks out of my district, where we are looking at new development that's going to be coming up. Some more homes, again, between Hickory Hills and Willoughby Station. So we're looking at almost 1,800 homes within that area. So very concerned about the safety concerns as traffic and again, our schools as well, just overpopulation. So, again, want to stay under my 5 minutes, but for the gentleman that comes up, Mr. Stephen, thank you, sir, for always coming up and discussing. Yes, I think that's a great idea to look at every quarter. However, when it comes down to it, when we start looking at growth taxes and cutting waste, I'm a big fan of that. And me and you've talked many times about it. And I'll just say this, our department heads are being each and every year looking for every opportunity to save as well as cut back. As our city grows, so does the demand of services. So each and every time that we show up on Monday morning, we head into work, our roads are clean from a busy weekend of folks that are out there just passing through, patronizing the businesses. So we've got from City Beautiful to our first responders, to our fire trucks, to our EMS, to even the folks that want to come here and do harm to our community. So everything that we are trying to do, which is make sure that we have got a safe place, a clean place. And then, of course, the most important is infrastructure. So this commission has done a great deal of investments along with investors and different builders. We're doing everything we can to count every penny that is being brought into our city. I'm a taxpayer. I live here just like the rest of us, and I pay those taxes too. And it is frustrating, 100%. But at the same time, that's one of my jobs up here is to make sure that we have the right staff in the right place to be looking at every opportunity to save money, as well as use the money that we do have coming in wisely. So always open for other opportunities for infrastructure, but I think that's the biggest concern right now is infrastructure, road improvements. And I believe this commission has done a great job at, taking on those requests and providing a good service. I will say, just because I only got a minute and 25 seconds left, several years ago when I first came on to this commission, the biggest concern was safety and our EMS and fire. Since I've been on this board, I will say this, is that these staff members, first responders, have developed some things that most cities has never done in years past to develop such a robust fire department and EMS. Our response times are cut down to, I think, anywhere between 4 to 5 minutes. In past years, you were talking between 25 and 30 minutes response times with our county services. So when it comes down to, whether if my kids or your kids are the ones being called for 911 because some emergency happens, I know what type of staff that we do have. And I know our police officers are cross-trained as well as our firefighters along. Also, those folks are cross-trained. So I am taking everyone's concerns into consideration through this budget year and doing my part and checking every box. So would love to hear for the folks that are online and also in the audience, you guys have access to my phone number, my email. Please send me an invite and I'll do my best to make sure that my time's available and it works around your schedule. So Mayor, that concludes my report and thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll recognize Commissioner Hefner for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody coming out this evening and those watching online, as always. And also happy belated Father's Day. I was surprised, probably one of the biggest surprises in a long time. My wife flew my daughters in for Father's Day this weekend. One's coming from Arizona and the other one from California. So I appreciate my wife for flying them in and really appreciate them for taking the time out of their busy schedule to visit their old man. The budget, speaking of budget, we'll get into more of this later on, but we don't, as I said, the other, last meeting, we don't take this lightly. I certainly don't. These are very hard decisions that we have to make up here. And we often rely heavily on advice and counsel from our city manager, deputy city manager, who is fed numbers and the needs and the wants from their department heads. So it's hard for me to speculate when certain pieces of equipment are requested. Who am I to second guess a fire chief, or who am I to second guess our police chief? This is not a full-time job for me. It's not a full-time job for anybody up here. So I rely heavily on what is being suggested in the budget and the suggestions and recommendations that come through from our city manager. So everybody did, I think, a good job on this budget. I know it's tough. A lot of requests were cut. I don't know if some of those are going to make it back in tonight. I certainly wouldn't be in favor of those. But these are hard decisions. PD, fire, I've said it before, EMS. I mean, we're the fourth safest city in the state of Tennessee. And I think that's 2 years in a row. I know at least this year or last year we were. And that comes at a cost. That doesn't happen for free. The debris that after each storm that gets picked up, that doesn't happen for free. We have those resources. We are a service-oriented business. We provide services. Our customers are the citizens of Mount Juliet. And we're looking at another tight budget this year. So, and yes, it is looking like property tax rate compared to last year will go down, but property tax dollars spent are going to go up certainly, unless we adopt the 1778 tax rate. 4th of July is coming up. I don't think we have a meeting before then, so I want to wish everybody a safe and happy 4th of July. What? One more?
No, I was like, hopefully not. That would mean we didn't pass the budget.
Oh, yeah, true. So I want to wish everybody a safe and happy 4th of July. So that concludes my comments.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. Commissioner Mullally, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Okay. Thank you for everyone coming out tonight. And Stephen, appreciate your comments always. August 6th is an election. It's federal and state primary, and it's also county general, a very important elections. We got school board, we got county commissioners, we have county mayor, we have register of deeds. I don't remember them all. Anyway, our county elections are very important. That's where it all starts, is in the backyard. August 6th is election day. Early voting starts July 17th and goes through August 1st. Please, 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 this is a very important election. Please get out and vote. So July 4th is about to come up, so people are going to be shooting. I know they're already buying. Just want to remind you, there are 3 days to legally shoot in the city. Chief can correct me if I get any of this wrong. So the 4th is on a Saturday, so we had 3 days. So that would be the 2nd through the 4th. Is that right? Okay, so you got 3 days to legally shoot. And July 4th is the last day to buy or sell in the city limits. So in July 2nd, 4th, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th from 5 to 10 o'clock. Not all day, just 5 to 10. So that's our new code. So please, I know in my neighborhood, people have been shooting already. So that's not legal, whoever you are. Let's see, the senior center, we're leased the old police headquarters. It's on Charlie Daniels Parkway. They had hoped to be open for activities today, but they are in. They're open, but the activities they've had to delay just a slight bit. So this week they're still organizing. And so the activity center for memberships and everything, I think that'll be effective on the 29th of this month. So if you're a senior and you're looking for a place to go, it's right now on Charlie Daniels Parkway behind the headquarters. Let's see. So we are very blessed here. I think here in Mount Juliet, we are a very patriotic city. I'm proud to live here. We have 3 events coming up. Vice Mayor mentioned one. So on this coming Saturday, June 27th, is Freedom 250 Celebrate America in Charlie Daniels Park from 3 to 7 p.m. There will be food trucks, music, entertainment, face painting, and more. It's a free family event, so all are welcome to come out and celebrate America's 250th. That's sponsored by the Wilson County Republican Party of Tennessee. It's not a partisan event. Whoever you are, it doesn't matter. They're inviting everyone to come out and celebrate together. There is 2 events on July 4th. So it's already been mentioned that the city event will take place on July 4th at Circle P Ranch. and that's down West Division. And let's see, the festivities begin at 5:30 and will end at 9. There will be, you bring your chairs, wear your red, white, and blue. There'll be food trucks and everything. The other one is Needham's is sponsoring Citizens of Mount Juliet 4th 250 fireworks blast behind First Baptist Church on North Mount Juliet Road. Behind there, where Mount Juliet Christian Academy is where the it'll all take place. Now that begins at 7 p.m. The address is 735 North Mount Juliet Road. There'll be bounce houses, food trucks, family fun, and Mount Juliet's largest fireworks show that will begin at 9. So bring your chairs, family, friends, and so pick one of the events to go to. They'll all be very exciting. Now, I don't have much time, so I just jotted down some notes from Stephen. First of all, the city manager does not recommend rates. Okay, he's over operations, not the budget. He submits to us when all the department heads submit their budgets to finance. Then when they do their thing, it goes to Kenny. Kenny presents to us a budget. I will say, I'm out of time. If the one who recommends the rates is the finance director. If we had passed that budget last year, we would not be having this conversation now. I can guarantee you that. So I'm out of time.
You're out of town, Commissioner.
I am. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sure we can talk more in the budget.
Okay.
All right. I will say Commissioner Mullally pointed out that it is legal to shoot for 3 days. I do want to preference the word shoot with fireworks just to make sure we're all clear, and specifically legal fireworks. So just want to make sure we're all on the same page as far as terminology when it comes to that there's a legal period in Mount Juliet where you can go shooting for 3 days. Make sure that's fireworks. So just in case you're tuning in and wondering what the city's up to. So I do appreciate everybody. I want to say happy Father's Day to everybody as well. I have got a daughter myself who is coming home this evening, and last time I checked, she seemed to be on Golden Bear Gateway, so she's getting close. So maybe I'll get a chance to have dinner with her tonight before bed, but we got a big agenda to get through. But I do want to thank everybody again for coming out. I know a lot's been said and a lot of stuff's been made about the budget. I will point out that I believe it's Commissioner Hefner said that we are the 4th safest city for cities our size in the state of Tennessee, and we're gonna stay. I think it's 4th safest overall, or overall 4th safest overall. I don't want to sell us short on that. We had some, I'll say, quite public activity that went on in the early morning hours with some signs becoming broke, and I'll say they political signs, and they were at the hands of a young man, and I don't think he got to live on the lam for at least 12 hours before he was rounded up and taken to Lebanon to stay at the county jail. So that's part of the good stuff that you get here at the city of Mount Juliet is the safety that you get, the stuff that we do, that we continue to invest in. And I would be failing to make my point if I did not point out that you do it at the lowest property tax rate of any city in this county. You can go to a lot of places in the state of Tennessee and pay a lot more and get a lot less. And this city has continued to go above and beyond and provide services at a rate that is really a bargain when you compare it to other cities for the services that we get. Not just services, but some of the best services out there than in the state of Tennessee. And I'll thank our city manager, staff, and this board for the investments that they do continue to make in this thing. We knew coming into this that I think all of us, when we sit at this table, know that we're sitting in a growing city and we've got things that need to be addressed. I don't think there's anybody in this city that's going to drive from point A to point B, and wherever that point A to B is that you want to make, if you go very far, is going to argue with the fact that we need to make some investments in infrastructure, and we are making investments in infrastructure, and those things come with a cost. We sit beside Davison County, and it's no secret what the crime rate is and what it looks like out there, and we directly border them, but we have a wall here in the city of Mount Juliet that we stay to keep you safe. You can go live just a few miles. I can go 2 miles from my house, and the crime rate from where I sit in my living room is dramatically different where I can go just 2 miles from my house. I don't even know if I have to go 2 miles to get to see the difference between it. And it's remarkable what the city's been able to accomplish and do. I don't know if there's ever been a group that's done so much for so many with so little. So I'll leave it at that and recognize our city manager for his comments.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Thanks for everybody coming out tonight. For those watching at home, it's nice to meet the Hefner daughters. I'm going to try to sneak away and give them a little something to take back home. I think that brings to light, sometimes we forget about it, about our elected officials. And it's something I can speak to, because when you've worked somewhere and you're in your 37th year working somewhere, and Mike, you've been here 30 years, those that's been here a long time remembers what Mount Juliet used to be like. Commissioner Malady, you moved here in the 80s, and it's just only gotten better each year. Property values have went up, and the things you have to do when you do border a town like Nashville. Mount Juliet's only about 30 square miles, and sometimes I think people forget that, and you realize the amount of infrastructure, for example. When you've worked somewhere a long time, you don't see the infrastructure and where it starts. And that's why I want to give a shout out to Public Works and all that they do behind the scenes. Probably another city, and put it into context, I think we're the 4th safest in the state. There's 346 cities in the state of Tennessee. And probably the other 3 above us are smaller towns where there's probably just not a lot of activity at all. And they definitely don't border major metropolitan areas. For example, when you think of the LPR cameras and what we have across the city and how it's able to help us solve multiple crimes, that even one this morning, that's not a one-time cost. That's an ongoing cost every year. I think of Toby in the back, our main mechanic, and I think of cars and tires and wheels and roads and things of that nature. We put $50 million just toward the Central Pike interchange. So I look at those things and I'm thankful, because I always say a town is just a town. It's just a place on a map without the people that call it home. And to us, that's very important. So I can speak from experience that what we do here is a lot more than the other city. We partner with more businesses. Just here recently, I had $3,000 just in American flags that were donated to the city, and I think I'm real close to getting a permanent sponsor. We don't think about a flag. One flag on a pole at I-40 is about $600. You know what? We take great pride in flying those, because it's the greatest, country on the face of the planet. It's the greatest state, and it's definitely the greatest city. So I'm very proud of that. But I do understand, and I hear what everybody's saying. I just wish sometimes that folks could see behind the scenes how hard our staff works. And there's a lady that's not in the room, but she's next door, and her name's Miss Dana, and she's our finance director. And when you see the numbers and the mental gymnastics that she has to go through to put a budget together or to do the things that we do, and I give the commission great kudos for that, because they expect a lot of us and a lot of this team. And I think we do that. You'll see sometimes department heads and elected officials out pulling limbs, digging stuff out of ditches so water flows, you name it. It's almost like Mayberry in modern times. But we're not Mayberry anymore, but we sure try to act like it. So I'm very proud of this city. And if you want to make a difference in your budget by doing anything, or in your taxes in your city, and I can't emphasize this so much, because one thing I was blessed with is 2 big ears. And I hear people talking all the time about where they spend their money. And it seems like sometimes it's selfish when I say, please spend it in your city. It's 30 square miles. Literally, if you can buy it in the city limits and you live in the city, it will benefit you immensely, far more than you realize. If you can't buy it in your city, at least buy it in your county, somewhere in this county, because then it stays at home and helps schools and things of that nature. And I can't overemphasize that enough. To the department heads, thank you for all the work that you guys do. We expect a lot. We push. We go through, we turn lights out. After somebody leaves a room around here, Michael, go check his office right now. His lights out. We do everything to get into the weeds to save every penny we can. And I get it. And I appreciate citizens that come and hold us accountable and look for ways to partner and brainstorm and make our city even better. So I'm very thankful for that. And I just wanted people to know that. I'm thankful for this commission and for the tools that you give us, because I hate to imagine what we'd be like as a city right now if we didn't have the things that in line for our city. For example, one of the things that we had to put off today, and I apologize for that, that's on me, is Mother Nature didn't quite agree with us today. We're going to have basically a groundbreaking for the hard work that Public Works in this city has put forth to widen Old Lebanon Dirt Road. That's been many, many years in the making. Back in my police chief days, I can tell you about wrecks I worked over there where there was fatalities. And that's, again, about safety. And we may never see the return on investment, but how much money can you put on one life or a serious injury for somebody? So I'm very thankful for that. And there's a lot of that going on in this city right now. And I'm thankful for that. East Division, Old Lebanon Dirt Road, Bender's Ferry Road, Golden Bear. I mean, Matt White, special shout out to you, brother. He goes to all the meetings that it makes more sense for him to be at. And we get more projects than anybody else in the state for the most part for cities our size. And that's because of the team and how hard they work. So I'm very thankful for that. And God bless everybody and hope everybody's safe going home. And hope you have a good night. Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. First item up is a consent agenda, which is 8A, a resolution declaring the city of Mount Juliet's fire department mini pumper truck as surplus to be sold. 8B, which is a resolution authorizing the execution of Verizon Wireless customer agreement under the State of Tennessee Department of Services contract. The next item is 8C, a resolution approving a supplement to the agreement between the city of Mount Juliet, Tennessee and the Dawson for design of the Central Pike widening project and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement. The next item is 10B, which is a resolution approving the agreement between the city of Mount Juliet, Tennessee and the Federal Highway Administration for the Safe Streets for all implementation projects and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement. 10C, which is a resolution approving the award of the construction contract for the Creekside Drive Interceptor upsizing project and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement. 10D is a resolution approving the award of construction contract for the Winfield Pump Station modification project and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement. Have a motion? Motion is second. All in favor of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Consent agenda does pass. The next item is 10A, which is a resolution approving a contract with West Wilson Utility District, WWWUD, for the relocation of water lines located on Golden Bear Gateway for the city's widening project. Have a motion and a second. All right, the items on the table here, Mr. Martin, it's under your sponsorship. Do you have a comment or?
Yes, Mayor, I just asked for support of these items.
Okay. And Mr. White, could you come up? And this goes into the next fiscal year, of course.
Correct.
And we don't have enough money allocated for it. It's the
If
gist
you
of it.
approve this agreement tonight, you'll have to add, when the budget comes up, you'll have to add 3.3 million to that Golden Bear line item in the budget.
3.3 million.
Yeah, a little bit about this project. It's for the Golden Bear widening project,
Mhm.
and when the utilities are in a private easement and our road widening project is causing them to have to relocate, then we're responsible for all the costs associated with that relocation. So that's what this agreement is for.
As
So-
opposed to Lemon Dirt Road where we did.
Well, all Living Dirt Road, all the utilities were in the existing right of way, and we didn't have to pay. They have to move at their own expense if they're within the existing right of way.
These were in their own easement.
correct.
And so we get to flip the bill.
So if we're wanting this project to get shovel ready, this is the last thing that we'll have to spend to get utilities out of the way.
And this
Middle Tennessee Electric's already moved. Piedmont's in the existing right of way, so they'll move at their own expense. Our sewer relocation has just started recently, and so West Wilson's the last item to get the project shovel ready.
And this is a prerequisite for the road widening of Golden Bear Gateway, correct?
Correct.
Just make sure everybody knows what we're talking about, 3.3 million up here for. Commissioner Mullally.
Is this general fund or?
Yes.
This general fund?
Yes.
Commissioner Hefner.
How much of the 3.3 million is going to be spent in this budget year?
It'll be all spent in the upcoming budget year.
So the one we're voting on
I'm
tonight.
saying that you think it'll get done this. I got somebody from West Wilson here that, so they'll have to go acquire, once this agreement's approved, they'll have to go acquire the new easements where the water line's going to go. And then, once that's done, then they can start construction. It may lap over to the next fiscal year. I don't know how long it'll take them to acquire easements and things like that.
How soon are we, if this is done, how soon will we be ready to start the widening?
As soon as they move and Piedmont moves, well, it's not Piedmont anymore. I think it's Spire is the gas company. Those are the last two they'll have to move for it to be shovel ready. I anticipate that'll be the next budget year is when we would be ready to start construction. Not the one coming up, but the next one, the 2028.
Hey, since we're talking about budget, just ballpark, what was that construction cost again?
It's around 20 million.
20 million. Okay. Mr. Martin.
Mayor, these items are just a perfect example of how much emphasis the elected body and cities putting on infrastructure for the city.
All right. Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments? Ms. Mullally?
I'm just curious why was it put in the budget already?
It was when I submitted my budget to Dana. It was in there. And then Kenny was looking for things to cut, and he asked, "Well, since we don't have an agreement yet with West Wilson, because they were still working on the agreement, he said, can I cut this? And then once we get an agreement from West Wilson, bring it back to you all, and then if y'all approve, we can add it to the budget." So that was what happened.
Well, just to make sure we're all on the same page, if we approve this agreement, which is a prerequisite for widening the road, West Wilson's not going to let us widen over their lines, I don't guess.
That's correct.
I'm seeing a head being shaken back there. So this is a prerequisite for construction. If we approve this agreement, in order to fund the agreement, we'll have to amend the budget when that's considered. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, all in favor of the agreement, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that does pass. The next item, which is 10E, which is an ordinance authorizing the abandonment of the existing Aiden Lane right-of-way via instruments to the Winfield HOA.
Motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on this?
Oh, I have, meant to hand these out. This is the signed letter from the Winfield HOA, agreeing with the abandonment of the city right-of-way, saying that they will take over the little section of property to maintain it so that they can move forward with the connection to, which will come out in Bradford Park and on Aiden Lane.
Well, Commissioner, I know you've been working closely with all the parties. Are you in favor of this agreement?
Yes, it has to be done. It was a condition added 2017, 18, something like that.
Okay.
So to the project, and Pulte knows they have to do it. So it was a condition added. The only thing remaining was the Winfield agreement to sign off
Very good.
for maintenance.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of 10E, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? 10E does pass on first reading. Is there any objection to considering 10F and G simultaneously? All right, hearing none, I'll read both for the record, which is 10F, an ordinance to amend the land use plan for the property known as Lockbox Self-Storage located at 12337 Lebanon Road, map 53, parcel 46, from thoroughfare commercial to light industrial. 10G, which is an ordinance to rezone and adopt the preliminary master development plan for approximately 4.1 acres of property at Lebanon Road, map 53, part of 46, from commercial general to restrictive industrial planned unit development. A motion and second. Questions or comments on either 10F or G? Ms. Mullally.
All right, so. On the ordinance for each, the land use and the rezone and the preliminary plan, if you compare the ordinance with one with the other, shouldn't they match basically?
What, can you explain a little further?
I'll give you an example. On 647, this is the ordinance under the land use, number 3. Okay, I'm missing that page. Anybody got, well, that would be page 650. Anybody got a page 650? I had that. I don't know what happened to it. Page 650. Well, you got part of the ordinance here on 651. You got 652. Well, I thought you said it was a 661 page. But,
Yeah, maybe.
Mine don't go up to that high, but maybe it's different in print. I don't know. Can you explain what the issue?
well, in the land use ordinance, under number 3, planning and zoning. Thank you.
My packet is 666 pages.
Yeah.
Mine's pretty much you can do these. Pass that to her, give me mine.
Anybody got a 600
Right here,
or page
you
650?
explain it. This is what you're looking for.
650.
Nope. Okay. Well, does anybody have page 647? That's it there.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Page 650 under planning and zoning.
Just swipe to change page.
Okay. Number 3, you got, now this is under the rezone in the preliminary plan. Number 3 under planning and zoning, you got Article 9 parking regulations waiver was granted. But if you compare that to the ordinance on the land use, page 647, number 3 says Article 9 parking regulations shall be adhered to accepting any waivers granted by the Board of Commissioners. I mean, shouldn't they just match?
I think we've discussed this before. 647 is our staff report that went to Planning Commission. So then the ordinance on 650, 51 is the result is after the effects of the Planning Commission meeting. So those conditions aren't going to be the same.
But is that not part of the ordinance? Because the ordinance starts on 640.
640 and 641 are the land use amendment ordinance.
Uh-huh.
And then starting on
650 is the starting of the PUD.
644 is the staff report that went to Planning Commission. And then 650 on is the rezone ordinance. So the conditions in the rezone ordinance, 650 forward, would be the conditions as they were finalized at their Planning Commission.
Okay, so 651 is part of the ordinance for the rezone in the preliminary plan?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so, would this not be included in the land use as well, the ordinance?
No, these would just be conditions for the PMDP.
Okay, so what's in the ordinance under rezoning, the preliminary, that stands? Got it, okay. Because they weren't exactly matching. They were kind of saying the same thing, but not exactly.
Some of them were written before Planning Commission.
Okay. And the other thing was the plan itself. There was a question about the 6-foot sidewalk. They were asking for a waiver. There was some confusion on where this was going. And the question was raised that these sidewalks are being done anyway. So really, where would it go?
I might have to defer to Public Works on that. I do recall there was some discussion. I don't know the details though.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the condition would be that the sidewalk along Lebanon Road be constructed by the development. We do have a incoming sidewalk project there, but if the incoming development takes care of that, that alleviates some of the burden on the city.
Okay. That's fine with me. Now, the one I talked to was the representative, so Can I invite him up here to explain the confusion?
Yeah, I'm Darren Rains. I'm the owner.
Name and address. You can get your address too, please, for the record.
Block South Georgia on Lebanon Road. I'm drawing a blank right now. Sorry.
12337 Lebanon Road.
It was brought up when we had one of the meetings that the city and I don't know the county or state or what was receiving some funds to build it, and there was some talk about it maybe being wider for bikes. So we were just saying if it was going to be funded and done, I don't know what the current regulations are. And another concern was just how you cross that busy drive going into our place in the Needhams. And the width of it right there on the top is just not, it's probably maybe this wide. I've mowed it a lot of times. I know it's pretty steep grade there. So all those things taken concern of some way we just find out what they're wanting to do there. And we're not saying we wouldn't want to contribute to it or whatever, just understand it better.
All right. Can we work it out here? Do y'all go back to your meeting room? At what point do we kind of work out the confusion?
Do they know what's coming out of it? As far as what the things are?
Yeah, I was just talking with Mr. White here, and it seems like it's more likely than not that the grant project to build the sidewalks comes in first, at which point there'd be a sidewalk and the development would not need to construct it because that condition would already have been met. In the event that they come in before that project, which seems unlikely, they would have to build the sidewalk.
Well, this is first reading. Do you want to take a stab at some language to maybe codify that? You build it if the grant doesn't come or something to that effect between now and second reading?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We can do that.
Will that work, Commissioner?
To clarify, the sidewalk project is currently out for bid, so I imagine construction will start in 2 months or so, 2 or 3 months on our project. So I think we'll be ahead of them.
So very
Basically,
likely.
yeah.
Got it.
All right. So what kind of, should we add some language?
Well, we can, let's let them bring back some
Yeah, for
suggestions.
second
between first
reading.
and Second reading.
Get it nailed down then? Is that good? Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor of 10F and G on first reading, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It does pass on first reading. The next item is 9A, an ordinance of the City of Mount Juliet, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget, property tax rate, and sewer rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027.
Motion.
Have a motion second. The item being properly moved and seconded is on the table. Commissioner Mullally. Actually, no, you go ahead, Commissioner.
Okay. I would like to motion that in the utilities, Tim's department, his crew that's already in the budget at 3% be increased to 6%. And
Commissioner, I need to stop you on
Yeah.
that to make a motion, because when we deferred this with a motion on the table, is that correct? Oh, we deferred it. Okay, so that motion then falls off and she's free. Okay. Just making sure you're,
okay.
carry on.
All right. I motion that Tim's department and utility, it's already in the budget for 3%. I motion that that's increased to 6%. And there's 3 utility positions that are state certified. They need to be separated in pay. I motion that those 3 positions are at 9%. And then I motion that Public Works that had been talked about before at the work session, Matt's crew is 6%, except for the two positions mentioned in this printout. There's two mechanics. Yes, two mechanic positions would be 3%. The rest of the public works under Matt is 6%.
Let me make sure I've got this summarized correctly. Mr. Forkham's department would get a 6% increase.
An additional 3% because 3's already in the budget.
Oh, so a total of 6?
Yeah.
Okay. But 3 positions that are state certified would get a 9%,
Yes.
and then Public Works would get a 6%, or is that 3% on top of the existing? Or is it
No,
total?
they're not in the budget.
Okay, so 6% for Public Works, except for the mechanics, which is the 3%.
Yes, 2 positions.
Okay. Is there a second? All right. Commissioner Giles, a second. The amendment is on the table, or on the floor. Excuse me. Commissioner Giles, you're recognized.
So basically, your proposal is what we have at the table where it says proposal in the middle here. On the back page. Yeah, that whole proposal, which is even less than what I had made in the previous in the workshop. And so anyway, I think this is needed. And I also want, and we may know this, that finance, when it finance or HR, both did this survey. Am I saying that right, Dana? Pay study back in January. We got the results, if I'm not mistaken, was emailed to us. Is that right? Yeah. So this was done, professionally done. It wasn't that, not that it wouldn't have been professional if a department head had done it, but I'm just saying it was done by them. So there's nothing skewed about this. This was done by them. So.
All right. Commissioner, are you asking for the floor? No, Commissioner Hefner.
Thank you, Mayor. Showing total general fund expense of $106,000. What's our current, call it, deficit? So it's going to add another 100,000. So we're raising property taxes. Now we're going to start spending money. Don't think that's a good idea. I know they're hard workers, and I wouldn't mind taking a look at this in January, just like we did last year, to see where we come in, actual revenue versus doing this now when we're already looking at a budget that's not balanced. So sorry to the guys. I know they're hard workers, and I know they probably well deserving of this raise, but I can't support it.
I don't really see this as a budget amendment, even though that's what we're effectively trying to do is allocate the money of $106,000 to the expenditure here. But it seems like it should be more of a comprehensive philosophy or discussion on the salaries in general, because the pay study involved 135 city job classifications and market rates. And on that study, it found 123 positions to be below market average. It found 12 positions are at market average, and it found 1 position to be above market average. That to me means approximately 91% of the city positions are below market, according to the study. I think what I read in there was, from the deputy city manager's assessment on this, is he really couldn't validate how the assessment come by. He made the statement that it happened before he got into the position. I don't know how the positions themselves were compared on it. I'm not saying they're wrong. I just don't know. I don't know the job descriptions, how well they align to other positions on this stuff. I'm kind of inclined to agree with Mr. Hefner that maybe we should park this on it just to make sure we review the whole thing and come up with a game plan for what we're going to do instead of just doing a budget amendment here tonight. I know they're a hardworking group, and it's two groups that I depend on quite heavily to be successful. But I have trouble just addressing one element of this, knowing that there's maybe 100 more that are not being considered at the same time. That's my thoughts. Vice Mayor?
So Ms. Dana, so with the actual pay study here, the mayor said, was it 123 you said that were below?
Yes.
And then 12 at, and then one above. With that being said, so these folks are still getting the 3%. It's just in addition to the additional 3% is what's being asked of tonight. And that still puts us there. So I guess my question would be, and I don't know if this is going to be a curveball for you or not, but that 123, obviously there's been some discussion there. Do we have a number of, if we were to bring those up to at least at average? So we don't even
I
know.
don't have that number. No.
Yeah, I didn't know if maybe you had already said, okay, well, one of the other commissioners or mayors already talking about it, just throw out a number. So I didn't know. That'd be great to know what that number is. So that way we can be able to look at those in the future. And then this was the study that was in January. Is that correct? Now, with that being said, there was another one that was done, 3 years ago, or was it 2 years ago that we just looked at this?
It was
Because that's what actually
22,
projected all of
I think
us.
22 is when we did the last pay study.
Okay, so it was 2022. And then that was when we found out that we were below market again. And that's when there was between 23 and 32% pay increases based off of,
Some of them,
The standards?
There was a few that were higher, but were hot, that high, but then most of them were low. And there was a 6% across the board for everybody. And then there were several positions that were increased.
Okay.
above that.
all right, thank you so much. Again, I'll probably be reaching out to you tomorrow to talk about those other numbers, but thank you.
Yeah, Commissioner Giles.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, didn't we increase some salaries last year on some departments? Okay, and Public Works was not in that. Okay, but yet they found $275,000 off their budget this year. So, and I'm not sure about the other departments there, but I do know that one. So, some last year, and then did we increase those in this fiscal year after we just talked about last year at the budget? We look at them later. Did we increase those later? Well, then somebody got some increases last year, but some of the others didn't.
Is that the case, Ms. Dana?
Yes. There were some pay adjustments that were done last year.
Do you know ballpark on how many?
I know police and fire got together on their pay scales to sort of bring them into balance. And then there were like a handful of I think parks got their facilities, maintenance guys got some raises. I can't think of any others. And
You got questions or comments? We're ready to vote on the amendment. All right. All in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That does carry. So we're on the budget as once amended. All right. Commissioner Hefner.
Mr. Martin, where are we at with the city property project? Or can you give us an update across the board and what's in the budget, what's not in the budget, what's?
Yes, sir. You're talking about the RFP as far as the contract to bring back.
Yeah, and the other city properties. I think some of them we're closing on. I think we've already maybe.
Yes, sir. There's one
accounted
we
for
just closed
those.
on, I believe it was last week, and that was a little less than $2 million. That was for the Sutton property. That has been closed on, and Ms. Dana has the check and is invested that into the
I don't
bank.
have that check. I went to the bank.
Yeah, immediately.
Good answer.
Yeah, the other is, of course, the properties here, the acres that's here at the city. It went to the planning commission last week. The next stop will be at the city commission on the 13th of July for for review of that.
So we got the contract done and we're redoing it in July.
Getting close to it, yes, sir. There's still a little bit of negotiating going back and forth about tidying up some of the loose ends between now and the first reading.
Okay. When is if it passes, when is it expected to close?
It would take right at a year, a little less than a year is what we're hoping. So it'd be in this budget year, and Dana may be able to speak to how she. Sorry, yeah, it should be right at a year. We're
Before
hoping
they
a little
close
less.
on the property?
That's for them to get all their planning pieces in order.
So they got a contingency clause in there.
Yes, instead of just buying it on the front end, they want to make sure that they can get entitlements, I guess you'd say, for the property.
Interesting. Okay. Look forward to looking at that contract.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We've got some other changes set here before us. Some budget amendments for second reading. The first being the number one label number one is the drug fund. General fund is to remove the new K-9 position from the drug fund move to the general fund, which is to reduce by 15,000 to 26,000, which is line item beginning in 123. The other one is the line item beginning at the 110, which is to increase it by 15 to 86. And that, if I recall, the story was that has to go into the general fund in order to be able to receive against the donation for it, which the donation was just to cover that. So it's really an increase of about 15,000 to that particular line item, 110, 36,7, 110. I know reading budget line items doesn't make for good TV or audience participation, but we've got to account for this some way. So I'm going to make a motion to accept this first one here to increase 110, 36,710 by 15,000 to move that expenditure into the general fund to accept the donation against. Got a second on it? All in favor? Oh, yes, Commissioner Hepner.
When's the donation? Is there going to be a budget amendment to cover the 15,000?
Well, if you put this in the budget, there doesn't need to be a budget amendment for it. It's already, the revenue's already recognized.
Oh, the donation's already in to cover the 15?
That's what this amendment
Got
does.
it. Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Good question. All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So that does carry. So we're back on the budget as amended 2 times. And we have the second item on here, which is to remove the fire department rollover of PO for SUV arriving before the fiscal year. And that is 11042200944 to reduce it by 55,000 to 30,000.
Motion.
Motion and second. Ms. Hire, does this have any ongoing expense tied with it? Is it just a simple one-time amendment?
It's just a simple, they've had it budgeted this fiscal year, but they didn't think they were going to get it before the end of the fiscal year. So we rolled it over to the next fiscal year. But Fire called me last week and said they are going to get it before the year end. So we don't need to budget it for next year. It'll be paid out of this fiscal year.
Sounds good.
And that's the same with number 3 as well.
Okay. Perfect. Any questions or comments? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That does carry. So we're back to the budget as 3 times amended. The third item Ms. Hire just commented on, which was to remove fire department rollover for PO for tools arriving before the fiscal year. I guess it actually means year end, which is item number 11042200940, which is to reduce that line item by $68,611 to bring the total to $190,000. Motion and second. Questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That does pass. So we're back on the ordinance as amended 4 times. And then number 4, which is the general fund fire department, increase the fire department payroll to cover staff changes on new apparatus, which is 110422000, personnel code 111 and 147, which is an increase of 44,000 on that. There was a motion. Is there a second? Okay, that does not receive a second on number 4. All right, we're on the budget as 4 times amended. We've also passed a agreement to be approved in the upcoming fiscal year for West Wilson Utility District to relocate a water line. And that's going to need an increase of 3.3 million. So I will make the motion that we add the 3.3 million. I'll ask Ms. Heyer if you could give us some guidance on where we might record that 3.3 million.
So I believe that's going to be under the capital projects fund, and it's going to be under line item 300, 43171, 910.
Can you repeat that again after 300,
43171,
171,
910.
910. All right. So I'll make the motion to increase that line item by 3.3 million. That's item number 300, 43171, 910. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. We got a second on the second. Ms. Heyer.
Yes, so you're going to have to increase transfers to the capital projects fund to cover that, or increase the borrowing in the capital projects fund to cover that expense. Because right now, the fund's not going to have enough of a balance to cover that.
What line item would need to be cut if we just did the borrowing?
That would be,
Actually, do we want to vote on this and then have a separate discussion on whether we want to do borrowing or take from the fund reserve? Is that correct? That would be the other opportunity? Okay. All right, let's hold that, and so we got the $3.3 million increase on the line item. We're kind of doing it backwards here, but any questions and comments on this? All in favor of the increase, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That does pass. So we got a $3.3 million. And Ms. Heyer, will you give us our options for the funding of the 3.3, which I'm assuming is fund balance or borrowing?
yes, it's either going to be transfers from the general fund or or increase the borrowing that's in the capital projects fund already. There's an $8.1 million borrowing under 300,36920.
So if we did a borrowing, that would increase that. We'd need to increase to 11.4.
11.4.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Splelly.
What does that do to the bond rating? Anything?
Nothing. We'll have to see how much we actually need to borrow once we get into the fiscal year and it starts going and see what the needs are. It may not be that much, but then again, it could be. But it shouldn't affect the bond rating.
If we did the borrowing and there's like an agreement set up with developers along the way to help cover some of that cost, that can be received in place of that at a later date?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Giles, did you?
Yeah, I just want to know what if it was that amount and we didn't have any of that repayment back, do you know what we would be paying monthly on that after we borrowed it? Well, I mean, approximately.
No. Yeah. It depends on how we set it up. I try to keep our debt service even, but it would probably, honestly,
$40,
I would-
$80.
yeah, a little more than that. probably under $1 million. I would
A
think.
month?
A month?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, I
Repeat
said
your
a month.
question.
I thought.
Oh, no. Repeat your question again.
How much would our payments be on that if we borrowed that? a month?
Oh, we don't do that by month.
Okay, then a
We
year.
do it every, yeah,
So
we
would
do
it
it
have to
every
be $1
6
million
months.
a year?
Probably not quite that much. but
Okay. For 4 years?
No, I would probably, if
Three.
it's a project, I would go out farther than that. I
Okay.
would probably do a minimum 10.
Okay. Okay. For $3 million.
No, I'm talking about the entire amount.
I'm just
sorry.
talking about the 3. How much that would increase our
Oh.
payments?
I gotcha. I would probably do a note on that point and it would how much would you want to pay? And then I can say
$40 or
that.
$80. I'm just kidding.
There are lots of options, and I have to look at rates
Okay,
and the
okay,
total.
okay.
That's a
Just-
hard question to answer.
Okay, okay.
Ms. Heyer, in your professional opinion, would you recommend the fund balance or the borrowing increase?
If you do the fund balance, you're at a deficit of 3-4 million again.
Yes.
I would probably. You could probably do the transfers because depending on the timing, we might be able to. Like I said, we may not spend it all. So this fiscal year, if it came down to it, we could always come back and do a budget amendment for borrowing.
So you recommend then taking it from the fund balance? Okay. Mr. Mullally just motioned to do the borrowing.
We can't keep spending our cash reserves. We just can't.
Is there a second on that?
I second it.
Okay, got a second? All right. Any discussion on borrowing beyond what we've already discussed? All right. All in favor of borrowing, please signify by saying aye. All right. Any opposed? That does pass though. So we've got, so the direction will be the borrowing. Ms. Heyer, would you, how should we word this for the budget?
I would say increase the. I would say increase the borrowing in the capital projects fund by 3.3 million,
Okay, just,
and that should cover it.
okay. I'll make that motion to increase the borrowing by 3.3 million. Got a motion second. Any questions or comments on that change to the budget itself? All right, all in favor of the administrative change, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Right. That does pass, and that puts us to the budget as 6 times amended by my count. See if my city recorder is agreeing. All right. Mr. Martin.
Mayor, sorry to interrupt. I understand the discomfort of some of this spending for the road project, but there is some good news from some developments that we're working with on that road. I think this lays a perfect foundation for if we get all this work done out of the way on the front end, especially with the utilities, especially with some of these, what I feel like are impending developments that we can help them offset a lot of the other costs that will go with this road winding project. That might also bode well with the state to show that we're trying. I get it. We're driving more traffic down to 70 and getting them there a little bit quicker. It shows we're making efforts toward infrastructure, which I hope will bode well with the state and some of the other grants that we're applying for there. So I commend you all. I know it's tough.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Commissioner Hefner.
Did we say it was $20 million to do the construction? Portion of it? Or we're just moving the water lines right now, the last phase of it?
Yeah, cool.
So-
Sorry, go ahead.
Matthew White, Public Works Director. Yeah, I estimate the construction be around 20 million for the actual construction of the road widening project. And we're just talking about the water line relocation.
And where is that money coming from? And this is a loaded question, so don't answer.
It's kind of what I mentioned at the workshop. We got to have a plan to fund these projects that you're wanting me to deliver. So,
Where we getting $20 million to build this road?
like Kenny was saying, there's potential big developments coming in that
That's the
area.
first time I've heard that, so.
So-
I don't know. Okay.
And with the IDD stuff, we could potentially use
say-
that method
Say Friday recent.
to fund the construction of that road project at no cost to the city. There's some tools
That
out
would be
there.
great. I look forward to the projects when they come in, but right now they're not here. So we gotta make
They're coming.
decisions tonight.
Very true. But with all projects, there's pros and cons, so that have to be carefully weighed. Vice Mayor.
Mr. White, just ballpark, if we were to put this project off, what would it cost the city or the taxpayers? I mean, obviously, like they're already, construction's there, the roads are being shut down, or let's just say, construction's there, they're going to slow down traffic, right? There's already work there. So if we were to put this off until the future, just ballpark, what would that cost us? Is this a savings or is this?
Yeah, if we delay it the price is going to go up. I talked to Wes Wilson. I asked him if we push this off another year, would costs go up? And they said, yeah, definitely. their cost on their materials and things go up every year. So we'll definitely be paying more for the water line if we push it another year or more.
Okay. That's
I
fine.
don't have an exact number.
No, I understand.
I didn't come up with the estimate. It was from West Wilson Utility, but they definitely said the price would go up.
Thank you.
Commissioner Giles.
You know, Matt, would you tell everyone that's watching on TV and in here how far that widening is and from where to where?
Yeah, it's basically from the bridge over Cedar Creek, which is right next to Jackson Hills, where the road's currently 5 lanes, continuing that 5 lanes up to the 4-way stop at Palermo Curd Road.
If you think about it, it's just to that 4-way stop.
We haven't
It's
started
20
design.
million just to that 4-way stop. If anybody's ever walked that, so you can see how expensive this stuff is.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. I'm going to look at page 66, and I hope Commissioner Mullally will forgive me for this, but I'm going to move to strike under the Belinda Parkway pedestrian signal crossing there. With $30,000 of engineering and then $150,000 for construction, I'd like to recapture that $180,000 of saving. That's going to be my motion. All right. Yeah. Well, it's across from Ashley Furniture to Red Robin. Is that correct? Oh, page 66 is the very bottom item. Yeah. No, my motion was to strike that. Was there a second? Oh, Commissioner Hefner seconded, I believe. Any questions or comments on that? All right. All in favor of striking the project, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That does pass. That puts us back to a budget as amended 7 times. Any other questions or comments? Amendments, discussions? All right. All in favor of the budget as amended by 7 times, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That does pass. So public safety will continue to be funded along with all these other projects. So appreciate everybody and the work that's going on. I appreciate everything that's been done. The city of Mount Juliet was going to lock in the property tax at 28 cents, still the lowest in the in Wilson County by far. So our next item is an appointment. I'll recognize the vice mayor for his appointment.
Yes, Mayor, and thank you. The appointments that I'm going to be bringing up is Joseph Viskowski. He was, I already spoke to him. He's willing to sit in this seat here and be my representative for my ethics.
All right, the name has been put forward. All in favor of the appointment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. He is appointed. All right. With that, we've concluded the business before us. Is there any objection to adjournment? Hearing none, we are adjourned.